everybody, happy Wednesday. Today, Sammy and Debbie are here to tell you some stories about firefighters. We're going to have some firefighter stories today. The first one is about Curious George. He's a very curious little monkey that gets into a lot of trouble, kind of like my little monkeys, right? Because they're curious too. And this is Curious George at the fire station. Look, he's sliding down the pole like a firefighter. I wonder what's going to happen, don't you? George and the man with the yellow hat were visiting the fire station. There's his friend, the man with the yellow hat. It's a really tall yellow hat. And George is in that convertible car with him, going to the fire station. "Hello, George," said the fire chief. "How would you like to wear a firefighter's hat?" George put on the great big hat. It covered his face because he's kind of a little monkey, isn't he? Then they looked at the fire engines. "We're so proud of them," said the chief. "We keep them bright and shiny as we can." One firefighter polished the big brass bell on the wall. "This is our fire alarm," said the chief. "Whenever there is a fire, it rings." There's their fire truck, and way up there is their fire alarm. When that rings, they have to hurry to the fire. Another bell was on the fire engine. I think George is curious about that one. "We ring that bell on our way to the fire," said the chief, "so that people will get out of our way." George is sitting up on top of the fire truck. That looks like fun. And this is Sally, our Dalmatian dog. She just had 10 puppies. The puppies stay in a basket on the second floor, right with the firemen. They all went up to the second floor, and the puppies were in a straw basket. I don't know if you can see them, but they're right over there by the green couch. Little tiny puppies. They barked. One tried to jump up and lick George's face. That's cute. Near the basket was a big round hole in the ground, and there was a pole going down the middle. "When the alarm rings," said the chief, "the firemen slide down the pole to the fire engines below. It's faster for them than going down the stairs." Look, I see the puppies right there. Do you see them? "You may slide down the pole if you want, George," said the chief. "But be careful," said the man with the yellow hat. George held onto the pole, and down he slid. Then he climbed into the fire engine, and he sat behind the steering wheel, pretending he was going to a fire. It's fun to pretend, isn't it? It would be really fun to pretend at the fire station. "Make way! Here comes George the fireman." George was curious. What would happen if he rang that bell? Uh-oh, I don't think that's a good idea. That might confuse the firefighters. They might think it's a real fire. Clang, clang, clang went the bell. The firemen heard it and jumped out of bed. They think it's a real fire. "Fire, fire, fire," they shouted. Quickly, they put on their uniforms and they slid down the pole. It was a false alarm. When the firemen got to the engine, they saw it was George that had rang the bell. "George," said the fire chief, "fighting fires is serious business. Now get off of that fire engine right now." George felt terrible. He didn't mean to do that. He was just very curious. At that very moment, they heard a dog barking. It was Sally, looking up to the top of the pole. Sally was going, "Arr, arr, 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 arr." One of the puppies had gotten out of the basket and was looking down, and Mama Sally was afraid the puppy was going to fall. Oh no, what are they going to do to save the puppy? George knew just what to do. He climbed up that pole as fast as he could. Then he held out his hat to catch the puppy just in case it fell. And sure enough, the puppy slipped and fell right into George's fire hat. Plop! That was using your head, George, said the chief. You saved our puppy. I'm making you an honorary firefighter, the firefighter of this station, and you can keep your hat, too. Yay! They're proud of George because he saved the puppy. Come back to visit us anytime, said the chief. And George and the man with the yellow hat got into their car and they drove home. What an exciting day it was for them at the fire station. We're going to have another book about firefighters. And this one has somebody that you know in it. Who's that? Kind of like my Sammy, my cat Sammy that's a black kitty. This is Pete the cat. And Pete the cat is going to visit the fire station. Pete the cat, Firefighter Pete. Let's see what happens. We're going on a class trip today, said the principal. She led the class to a bright yellow bus that said school bus. I wonder where we're going, said Pete. Oops. I think it's got too many pages. There we go. We are going to go to the fire station today. The bus parked right near the bright red firehouse. Pete and his classmates were so excited. The firehouse is huge. It's so big it can hold 2 long fire trucks and all of the firefighters' equipment. It must be really big, right? The firefighters showed the children around. They gave everybody a turn to ring the bell. They got to ring the bell. And it went ring, ring, ring. I see Pete. Pete had his turn first. Then all of the children took turns sliding down the pole. Wow, they're really good at it, aren't they? Whee, said Callie as she slid down the pole. The firefighters allowed the children to try on all the firefighter clothes. First, Pete put on the heavy black pants, and then he put on the big black boots. Wow, those look really heavy, don't they? A firefighter helps Pete put on the heavy yellow jacket. Finally, they placed a hard black helmet on top of Pete's head. Pete looked just like a firefighter, didn't he? The firefighters allowed the children to get on the fire truck, and as they did, they got to press the horn. It went beep, 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 beep. Then Pete took his turn to press the button with the siren, and the siren went and the lights flashed on and off. Suddenly, a loud bell rang in the firehouse. It was a real fire. Ding, 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 ding. Everybody put on your fire gear. We need to go to the fire. All the firefighter cats climbed on board the fire truck and followed with the lights and the sirens and went all the way to the fire. Beep, beep, beep. The fire engine raced through the town with its lights flashing. The firefighter pressed that horn again. Beep, beep. All the cars got out of the way. Oh, this is very exciting. There's the fire. It's hot and loud, but the firefighters knew exactly what to do. They worked together as a team, and they got their hose and put out the fire. Then the firefighters also attached a long, long, heavy hose to get to the places they couldn't reach, and the water squirted out that fire. The water gushed very, very fast. Several firefighters had to hold it in control. But suddenly, they heard someone yelling. It was Green Toad. He was saying, "Help! Help! I'm on top of the building!" Oh no, I hope they can get him down in time. Oh no, it's Grumpy Toad. He needed to be rescued. The firefighters raised their long ladder from the truck. Crank, crank, crank. The ladder went up and up and up. Firefighters jumped up to help, and they grabbed Pete just in time and brought him to safety. The firefighters drove back to the station, took off all of their gear, and then they patted little Pete on the head and said, "Good job, Pete. What a good firefighter you are. Thank you for helping us." And that's the end of Pete the Cat and Firefighter Pete. But we have one more story about firefighters. And it's not about a really, really, really big firefighter, and it's not about a monkey firefighter, and it's not about a kitty cat firefighter. It's about a kind of small firefighter, and his name is Fireman Small. Let's see what happens. In the middle of town, where buildings stand tall, there lived a little man called Fireman Small, the only firefighter this side of the bay. Fireman Small works night and day. He sounds very busy. He pulls the truck into station number 9. He walks upstairs one step at a time. He closes the curtain, he gets into bed, and he pulls the covers up over his head. Good night, Firefighter Small. Look, he's got a little dog sleeping there too. A Dalmatian dog, just like in the other story we read. Ring-a-ding-ding sounds the alarm. Cat up a tree at Farmer Pig's farm. Quickly out of bed he scoots. He jumps into his pants and into his boots. Ready to go, he slides down the pole. He puts on his helmet and coat down below. Sirens sound, roar, lights flashing round. Fireman Small races through town. He's got to go really fast to put out the fire. In the magnolia, squealed Farmer Pig, right over there in that tree. Tiny Cat is clinging to a twig. Neighbors rush to see what's the matter. Fireman Small springs up the ladder. The bough breaks and the tiny cat falls. Oh no! Will he catch him in time? Let's see, I bet he will. Into the arms of Fireman Small. Pig and the neighbors shout, "Hooray! Fireman Small has saved the day!" He pulled back into station number 9. He walked up the stairs one step at a time. He closes the curtain, he gets into bed, and he pulls the covers up over his head. I think he's going to do that every time, don't you? Clang, clang, clang rings a bell. Little Bunny has fallen down the well. Quickly out of his bed he scoots. He jumps into his pants and into his boots. Ready to go. He slides down the pole and he puts on his helmet and coat down below. Sirens blare, red lights glare. Fireman Small has no time to spare. He has to hurry and help. Come quick, Mother Rabbit cried, holding back the tears in her eyes. Fireman Small looked down the well. He climbed down to where Little Bunny fell. He found Little Bunny sound asleep on the ground. He brought her back up, all safe and sound, and Mother Rabbit shouted, "Hooray! Fireman Small has saved the day!" He's a pretty brave firefighter, isn't he? He pulled it back into station number 9. He walked up the stairs one step at a time. He closed the curtain. He got into bed. He pulled the covers up over his head. When ring, 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 the telephone rings. Bakery's on fire. They can't see a thing. Oh no, now he has a fire to put out. Quickly out of his bed he scoots. He jumps into his pants and into his boots. Ready to go, he slides down the pole. He puts on his helmet and coat down below. Sirens cry, lights flashing by. Fireman Small sees smoke in the sky. He hops down from behind the wheel. He jerks the fire hose off the reel. He breaks a window and knocks down the door. He puts out the fire at the bakerman's door. Hippopotamus shouts, "Hooray! Fireman Small has saved the day." Again he saved the day. He pulled back into station number 9. He walked up the stairs one step at a time. He closes the curtain. He gets into bed and he pulls the covers up over his head. He does it every time he's done, doesn't he? He's tired. He needs to rest. Ding, ding, ding. The doorbell chimes. Who could it be at 9:30? Fireman Small hurried down the stairs and he opened the door to see who's there. Oh no, is it another emergency? No, it's his friend stopping by to say, thank you for all of your help today. Thank you for making everything all right. Now you go to bed and turn out the light. Fireman Small waved goodbye. He climbed back upstairs, rubbing his eyes. He stretches and yawns and crawled into bed. And he pulled those covers up over his head. He was a very busy firefighter, and he saved a lot of animals, and he put out the fire, and now he deserves a good night's sleep. That's all our stories for today. I'll see you next time. Bye, friends.